The GTX 1080 was one of the greatest GPUs ever made. Today we're benchmarking a potentially dead unit to see if the legend still has life left. Alright, so I believe this unit may or may not be dead or possibly on its way out. I had noticed some artifacting in my other system, so we're going to test that out and just see if it is the GPU in fact. We're completely taking it out of the old system. We're going to be placing it into the new system, not this system, but we're going to be placing it into the new system and just we're going to be firm marking it and just testing to see if there really is anything wrong with it. If there's nothing wrong with this and we got some artifacting on our other system, maybe it was the motherboard or processor that was failing. Now we're going to test that out as well on another video, but today is going to be all about the 1080 Ti, my favorite card that still performs to this day. So it actually ends up ranking within 83rd percentile of graphics cards, which is actually really good for a card that was put out in, I believe, 2017 to still perform at this high of a level is absolutely incredible. So we're going to get right into the benchmarks and show you guys how it did. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. As you guys know, we like to kind of show the entirety of the video. So basically, we're going to show you from start to finish with very few edits, if that, um, what exactly I had to do to get this system up and running to the point where it was completely built out. Now, what that means is we're going to be setting up drivers, generally getting our DirectX set up. Um, we need drivers for the GPU. Technically, we need PCI drivers, Wi-Fi drivers, LAN drivers, chipset drivers. There's a ton of drivers that we have to pick up. Generally, here we're just going to be kind of looking at, I believe, our general graphics video drivers. We're going to make sure we have that, otherwise there could be a lot of issues. For the most part, we want to make sure we do get this completed. Alright, so we're looking for the GTX 1080 Ti. I believe it was the 12 gigabyte version. Definitely for its time in 2017, 12 gigabytes was considered pretty high. Even now, I mean, 12 gigabytes is at least formidable. To the point, even some of the newer cards coming out with sometimes even less than 12 gigabytes, which shouldn't even be the case. I think at this point, unless it's like a very low end card, we shouldn't be seeing anything around that even. I'd say at that, maybe at the minimum, because the prices of the GPUs are so expensive. You're looking at like 600 for a basic GPU that they're coming out with. I mean, but even for that case, I mean, we have all these older GPUs that we could still utilize. So this is definitely going to be one that I want to make sure that there's no issues, because if there is any issues on this 1080 Ti, I will be pretty upset. I do believe that the 5700G, that the system that I had it in, had a few years on it, and it was being used quite regularly to the point where maybe something was faulty within that car within that chip. It was a APU setup, so it is possible that for some reason something happened to the CPU itself or that motherboard, maybe something burnt out. I'm not sure. But that's going to be something we could actually like kind of look into if I can just rebuild that one up. We're going to have that set up hopefully in another video. For now, we're going to be focusing, like I said, on the 1080 Ti. One of the best benchmarks that I've noticed for testing, like any artifacting, would probably be like FirmArc. I think, in my opinion, I think that would be the best. I'm also going to use, I believe, Heaven Bench. We're going to be using Passmark to make sure it gets a decent score. And just kind of run it through all this rigorous activity, things that would basically push the computer to a limit that we would hopefully or hopefully not see if there's any issues. We really don't want to have any components that are in the midst of failing or basically failing in the system. And we definitely wouldn't want to go about selling a card. If I had to sell it, I'm going to keep it. But if at some point I wanted to sell this card and I have some suspicion that the card may have, um, some artifacting or maybe some overheating issues, I really don't want to sell a card like that. So this is, like I said, this is going to be, it's actually installed in my secondary rig, so I'm not going to be selling this one anytime soon. But I do want to make sure for my own sake that this card is tested. This way I can watch movies, I can play games on my secondary rig, and there will be no issues. So that's the main point of this video, but also show you guys if you wanted to test a graphics card and you think maybe the GPU is the issue. Well, this is how I would go about narrowing it down. I think maybe there's probably there is a large community of people that are really good in the tech space that could also show even more good ways to test for any artifacting. I'm pretty new to the GPU testing and artifact and looking for artifacting in general, but I did know about Furmark, so I wanted to see if we could use that to see if any issues were to arise. We'd be able to maybe see it. Um, yeah, so we're going to find out if there's any problems. We're going to go through some testing. We're going to see how this GPU stacks up to other GPUs, and it should be good. All right, so you guys can see here, I actually opted for Valley benchmark. I don't know. I mean, I really love the Heaven benchmark. As you guys know, I think I have a video from, I don't know, 7 years ago when I first started my channel. I do have a video even earlier than that, repairing a Xbox 360 remote. But for the most part, I started the channel in like 2017, 2018-ish. But I have a video from back then when I was 19 of me actually, doing Heaven Bench. So it's always been about Heaven Bench, and we're gonna try out Valley today. There's still two very beautiful, fun to watch benchmarks. So we'll definitely try that out. We're gonna look in hardware monitor to see if there's anything visually standing out, like any very high temperatures, um, just any odd voltages, something that might be a little out of place. That's what I use hardware monitor for. We really don't want to see anything. If we see any temperatures that are extremely high or any voltages that are abnormally high for some reason, um, we might be able to fix that. Generally, when I make these computer builds, I will, for the most part, always replace the paste on everything. Um, Maybe depends. Northbridge, I might put new pads on it. Um, Very rarely do I actually do that, but occasionally I actually replace the Northbridge on my LGA 775 Barber's Rig 2.0. If you guys follow my channel at all, Barber's Rig, we bought it from Savers for, I think it was 10, $15, but it happened to have somebody's hard drive on it. We cleared it out, but we call it Barb's Rig. It's just a funny little thing we have going. But yeah, so I put the North Bridge on Barb's Rig 2.0, which is basically the one I rebuilt. I made it better. That's going to be our next video. It's going to be insane because we've been in the works on this video for like 2 months now. We've been basically finding parts to put in it. We had a very large Vista, basically a series on our stream. I mean, we don't stream that often, but we were streaming the Vista setup. I think we had 3 streams. We had like the onboard, the 2 processors, the one of them was an upgraded processor, and then a graphics card. And we basically went about benchmarking all of those. I mean, it's pretty impressive. But yeah, we just did a Furmark test here. It didn't look like there was any issues. I mean, I don't know how the Furmark scores generally go. I would assume it scored fairly well. I don't see anything specifically wrong with that scoring. Um, it looks like it performed and didn't have any artifacting. So that's what we're kind of looking for. I mean, if it performed very bad, I'm not sure, but it looked like it performed pretty average for a 1080 Ti. Alright, so we're gonna look around. I don't know Furmark all too well, so you'll see I'm just gonna like mess around a little bit with it and see what we could do. Here we go. So let's see if we actually try. We're gonna try the artifact tester. This is a very nice. I mean, it's not like nice as in like Valley or Heaven Bench, but it's pretty cool looking, I would say. Basically, we're putting our temperatures up. You see that GPU hotspot's getting to like 83, I believe. Your overall GPU temp is also increasing with that, and our GPU usage is pretty high up there. I'm pretty sure it says 99%. VRAM doesn't look to be getting utilized all that much, but the actual GPU usage is very high up, so it's good. But yeah, basically with that the Vista 32-bit, our goal was to see how our LGA 775 socket can do, and if we can increase the overall performance of that with newer and more modern parts. Um, Again, we got pretty much the same score, if not a little bit higher, I believe. All right. But yeah, You guys are gonna see in our next few videos. It is coming out really good. The Vista rig is gonna be set up, and we're gonna be in great shape to hopefully actually be able to play some more modern games. Not super modern, but 2017 and before and prior. So this is Vista came out, and I believe was it 05, 08, between that time period. Um, we didn't really expect a Vista rig to be able to play anything newer, but we got it to do something. So that's all that matters, and we're trying to keep some life in these older systems because I think they deserve a second chance for certain things, I guess. But yeah, we're gonna check that out. All right, so you see, was it capable of finishing our Furmark testing? All right, we're actually gonna boost up the resolution here. I think we had it 1920 by 1080, but we're gonna put it to 1440. Right, the actual monitor. You guys can see Furmark doesn't automatically update that benchmark set, so we're gonna go in and reset Furmark. This way, it'll show it as 1440p. All right, there we go. So now we could benchmark it in a larger resolution. This way, we're actually be putting it more. I guess be putting it to work more. Alright, so here you can see we're downloading Performance Test 11, also known as Passmark. We're going to be doing some Passmark testing to test out our systems, and we're going to be basing our scores off of other hardware from other people's Passmark testing. So we're going to see how our benchmark runs. We're going to kind of run through. Here we have a Ryzen 5 7500F 6 core. We're running it on a B850M Wi-Fi board with 16, actually, I believe it's 32 gigabytes worth of DDR5. Here we go. Right. That is nothing. We're not really worried about that. So here is our 1080 Ti with our current driver version 581.80 at 1080. Okay. That's just our North Bridge and then some of our drives that we have on board. All right. All right, so now we're going to run this benchmark, test it out, see how it goes. As you guys know, this benchmark, I think it takes about 5 minutes. So I think what we're going to do from here is just fast forward a little bit. Alrighty, guys, so you guys can see our scores. It looks like our CPU did very well. Our We have our 2D, we have our 3D graphics. Um, like I was saying, our graphics card did within the 83rd percentile, getting a score of 20,856. There are some cards, I think the 9700 XT only does so much better than this. I mean, yes, they're getting several thousand more, but still, for that price point that you're getting a 1080 Ti at, it's crazy what this can actually do. A disk mark is what really killed us on this pass mark. I think we have a regular 7200 RPM for 4 terabytes, so that's definitely what killed us. I think we would have done a lot better with a better hard drive, so I should definitely look into that. Try to get a better hard drive in there. This way we get a better pass mark. But this is actually the only video that I went about it not try and get the best pass mark. Our goal was, and still is, does the system run, but is the graphics card still in working order, or are we having artifacting issues? Is the graphics card going out? So that's what we're trying to figure out here in this video, and basically just trying to find that out and do what we can do to test it. And if we see any issues, then we'll know. So far, I think we're pretty deep into the video. I haven't seen any artifacting. I don't know if you guys have at all, but we haven't seen any. Furmark hasn't shown any as well. But we're going to continue to test because that's what you have to do. You have to continue to have basically continuous testing to be sure that that graphics card has no issues. So here we go. We're going to be starting up Valley Benchmark. There we go, guys. So we got a score of 9,166 FPS average, 219 minimum, 52, and a maximum of 388. So the GPU did its job. Perfect. Couldn't ask for more. Alright, so we'll just save that. We'll close that out. Now, I believe we're going to test out some games. So let's see. Our issues actually happened while we were watching a movie, and then we saw the artifacting going on. So we're going to have to figure out which game we want to test out. Um, I think Dirt Showdown does have some form of benchmark within it, just to show us if there's any issues. Hopefully that'll do it. So yeah, we're gonna play some Dirt Showdown. I'm trying to think of some other games that actually have physical benchmarks in them that we could just press and actually benchmark it. But yeah. Alrighty, guys. So let's see how we're gonna do on Dirt Showdown. I sped it up quite a bit. Don't mind the my username on there. I apologize for that. I don't really know what goes on with these usernames sometimes. But yeah. So here we are. So we get through the benchmarks. We're looking at an average of 211 FPS. All right, so that's pretty solid. Um, we're gonna get to the next game. It did take me a little while to think of what we're gonna play for the next one, but we're actually gonna be playing Dead Army, one of the newest ones. I believe it is the newest one. So we'll check that out. Alright. Alrighty, guys. So you guys can see what Zombie Army 4 looks like. Alright. There's Dead War. I got it for a very decent price on Fanatical. Definitely check Fanatical out. I have a couple videos on what Fanatical is. Basically, they have bundles, very similar to Humble Bundle. Um, they used to actually be called Bundle Stars. So back when I started actually buying bundles from them, they were called Bundle Stars. They changed their name to Fanatical. Usually, they have some pretty decent pricing on bundles. If you're interested in um, bundled games, usually they have pretty good prices on cheap keys. Um, but yeah, we get to test out a little Zombie Army, Dead Army. Solid game. I mean, we kill zombies. That's the goal. I mean, there's so many games that are similar, but this is actually a multiplayer co-op game. You can go online, play with others, and just straight up kill zombies. Um, it is a bit graphic, so just be careful, I guess, when you're watching, because some of the headshots they can be a little graphic. But yeah, fun game. My shot is horrible. I sped it up so it looks like I'm doing amazing, but trust me, these are terrible shots. I can hardly aim. I should be a lot better at this, being that I've played Dead Army 3, Zombie Army, not Dead Army 3, but Zombie Army 3. But yeah, guys, I guess this would be the appropriate time. We're going to be ending the video off. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Please like and subscribe. Also, check out our new sponsor, Dubby. They make energy drinks, energy powders, and hydro samplers. One of the ones I actually have right now is the Japanese yuzu. Definitely check them out. Solid stuff. I've been drinking this stuff ever since they sponsored me about a month ago, a month and a half ago. I was really happy when I got it in the mail. I got a sampler pack of all different flavors. I really like the Japanese yuzu. I've allowed all my friends to kind of try it out, test it out. Solid drink. I will leave my 10% QR code down at the bottom. I believe it's called Party 10. That's my QR code for Dubby. So if you guys want Dubby Energy Powder, definitely check them out. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I will catch you on the next video.